Today, someone in our community is facing a challenge they shouldn't have to face alone. Your business can change that. When you join the Community Pay It Forward family, your kindness becomes action, and your sales becomes hope. For as little as $20 a month, you help guide families, nonprofits, and neighbors from crisis to stability. One small step, one powerful mission, one community coming together. Join the family today. Visit the website or scan the code and become a business where people can shop with purpose and support with heart.
Warning, the brown cloud is approaching. Some will try to outrun it. Others may not be so lucky. But don't worry, it's all part of the fun at the Chili Cookoff for books and board games. Where the chili is hot, the flavors are bold. And Bear E has your back with the official Brown Cloud Preparedness Kit. Follow the plan, know your exits, and whatever you do, hold your breath, because this temporary pain is all for a great cause. Join us, laugh with us, survive the Brown Cloud, together at Key Largo Lounge in Greeley.
Join us November 8th at 11 a.m. for the 10th annual Chili Cookoff for books and board games at our home field, Key Largo Lounge, where our small market team is making a huge statement. Scan the code for tickets and sponsorship information.
Hello world, my name is Z, or you can call me Mr. Z. I am a web developer, and I am also a consultant at Z World Webs. My one goal is to develop custom websites that are specifically catered to your organization's needs. I completely understand that building a website is an exhilarating, exciting, and significant step in connecting with your audience. Your organization has the potential to make a meaningful impact, whether it's supporting animal rights, advocating for equality, combating human trafficking, or honoring the brave individuals who have served our country. Your mission is too important to be held back by the challenges a website can present. And I am here to ensure that your website works for you, not against you. Whether it's maintaining, developing, or redeveloping a custom website that is specifically catered to your needs. And with that being said, I would be more than delighted to learn more about your organization and, of course, develop a website Z World is waiting for. Thank you.
How's it going? It's Zach Clayton with Community Pay It Forward, the Come Together Compass Impact Podcasting Networks. I am thrilled today to bring in Ann from Livestream Digital because she did something that, as a parent, amazed me. And we're going to be getting to that here in a little bit, because I think she did the one thing as a parent that every parent wants to do. So, but Ann, how are you doing today?
Good. How are you, Zach? Thanks so much for having me today.
You know what? I'm excited for this. You and I, you are going to be joining the family, which is extremely exciting because what you do is going to be something that, quite frankly, it's going to help people stick out, and it's going to help people When you and I first talked, I used the words transferable skills a lot, and probably to an annoyance. But I really feel like what you're doing, and is right in that transferable skills mode. So, can you please tell us what you're doing at with Livestream, and tell us exactly what it is?
Sure. So, well, again, thank you for having me. We are thrilled to be here. So, Livestream Digital is a platform that helps people store, organize, reflect on, and showcase their story for whether it be college, career, or even just life. When we were young, at least when I was young, we had photo books and all sorts of things around that we reflect on. And I realized in today's digital age, kids don't have that anymore. So the reflection component of Livestream, has become really important because people really need to understand the value that they bring, because everybody brings value. And I've always been a strong believer in that. And this platform really helps people understand their value, because everyone is different. Not everybody's value is in a grade or a test score, or even can be seen in a resume. There are so many things that people do that, when brought together, you realize there's a holistic view for yourself, not just for the application process, but for yourself. That's really important so that you can really tell your story. And so that's really what we want to try to help people do, whether it be with the platform or the consulting services that we offer, is really helping people to understand their value and be able to articulate it well.
And I think that right there is where the power is the greatest. Is that, you said it. We sit there, and when we're trying to build our resumes, we sit there and we rack our brain, and we limit a lot of times what we know, because we're going back and we're looking at things like, well, this was my job, this is what I did, so this is who I am. But we don't put everything down. We forget that, wait a minute, I did have to work with compliance. I did work with this. I did do that. It's amazing all the things that you can put down, that you have experience with. Even if it's the smallest thing, it could be exactly what the people are looking for, who watch your videos.
Yep.
And watch your digital packages.
That's very true. And if you think about it, whether it be students who are doing projects and other things in school, outside of school, their sports, their arts, the volunteer work, and all sorts of things that students do, but adults do too. You're doing a ton of stuff when you're working, right? And to your point, you don't even realize and think about the relationships that you make, and the impact that you've had by doing a specific project as a professional. And if you, in today's digital age, you can really consolidate everything into one place. And that's, Livestream is for any digital media format, which is one of our key differentiators, is that we're not just for pictures and videos. Word, Excel, PowerPoint, even code can go into Livestream. And where that matters is that so many things are happening that are digitized, that if they're just brought together, there's a lot of different places to save things nowadays, whether it be on a network or another cloud service. But usually each of them has their own specific, whether it be one for code only, and the others are for pictures and videos, and the others are, for documents, and you have some in Google Classroom or on your company's network, etc. But Livestream allows you to bring all of that together into one place. And you can keep all those little things, to your point, Zach. You don't have to be great if you're curing cancer, but you don't have to be curing cancer to make a difference, right? You can do a lot of little things and little projects and little, you can make an impact in small ways, in large ways, for yourself or for others. And so those are the things that we encourage people to save. If it was memorable or meaningful, we say to live stream it. Even, vacations, people don't realize how much they do on vacations, and kids are like, well, that's, some kids, I had one student who he went on this great vacation and he learned how to like jump off. He got the courage to jump off a cliff. Like they have those cliff jumps or whatever. And he was saying, he was talking about his vacation and he tells me, well, I learned how to kayak. I learned how to cliff jump. I said, those are great skills that you learned. People don't think about those as skills being learned because he was just having fun. His parents were just trying to, encourage him to try new things and things that he was capable of doing, of course, within. And so, but I said, you learn how to do all of those things. That is great. Number one, for yourself, but also, if you want to showcase and talk about yourself, you learned about courage. You learned about resilience. It didn't always work the first time. The kayak fell over the first couple of times he tried, but then he did it, right? And he was and those are the stories that we say to capture. So in other words, it doesn't have to be something huge either. The big things are, of course, are kind of obvious that you want to capture, but it's all these little things that you do that you don't even realize make an impact on who you are and the person that you become and the story that you can tell.
Yeah, and just to kind of further the story on where you're going, you know what people see when they see that you went on vacation a lot of times? They see that you know how to take care of yourself, and that's very important to an employer. They see that your life is not all go, 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 work, work, work. They see that you know how to take care of yourself and put yourself in a higher level of care, which is, and especially in the high paced, high travel, high pressure world of business, you need somebody who's actually going to, take a little bit of time to learn new hobbies and do things. That's one of the reasons why a lot of those applications ask you, what are your hobbies? They want to see that your life is not all, well, I sit around and do nothing all day. They want to see what you do because it's important to bring in somebody who's motivated, somebody who can pick up on things. I love the bravery aspect, that I'm going to go do this, that adventurous. It's exciting for a boss to see somebody, wow, this wackadoo went and jumped off a cliff. That's exciting to them because, okay, well, this kid's ready to go and do anything. So that's an amazing thing. You started this program, and I talked about this earlier. You started this program because, well, you're a parent, and as a parent, you always want your kids to have something that makes them stand out a little bit. Can you tell us that story?
Sure. Well, so I have two boys, young men now, but at the time, they were in a school. Well, I have been just giving a little bit of background. I was in technology. I've been in technology for a long time. I also have a degree in education and started working in ed tech for a bit. And when my boys were in grammar school, it was a school that went to 8th grade. And so everybody in the school has to apply out. And so, all the moms, they look at the applications and we realize, well, the boys kind of look the same. And then, girls, girl moms were like, yep, all our girls look the same too, but they couldn't be more different, right? And so I had the opportunity, because of my ed tech company that I was in, to talk to admission professionals. And I said to them, so talk to me about how you differentiate these kids. And they're like, oh, it's really hard. And they showed me spreadsheets and sticky notes and all sorts, files that they use to separate, to, differentiate, children and one from the other. And I said, well, that's a lot. Like, what if you had a tool that could, show you what they can do kind of inside and outside of school? I thought, oh, that would be great, right? So then I went back to the moms and we had a mom group session, and I said, would you want to do this? And that's how the original portfolio concept came up. It's like, oh, let's create digital portfolios. And then the mom said to me, Ann, I love this idea. I really do. But the problem is, if I don't have the stuff, I won't help create this, and my kids won't be able to do it because we've got to search for it. To what you were saying earlier, Zach, we don't really think about all the things that we do. And then when you have to create a resume or create an application, everybody's doing that recall session, as we call it, where you're trying to recall everything that you've done and group it together. And it takes so much time to do that when you haven't been doing it over time, that all the moms were like, and I can't go back and grab the stuff. So that's how the platform was built, because we said, all right, so we want to create a storage solution that's private to the family, where they can store anything that they want, over time, so that all those memorable or meaningful moments can be captured, and they don't have to worry about it going anywhere. It all can just be captured. And what that allows parents to do, and students, because especially high schoolers and kids over 13 are all capturing this on their own anyway. But what allows them to do is capture anything that they want, that they find memorable or meaningful. And then when it's application time, they can look at it and they can select out some or all down to the media level. So they can have those friend pictures in there, but they're not going to select those for an application, but they can keep those in their life, in their digital memory box. But they can select some or all and create a custom portfolio to go with their Ravenna applications for high school, to go with their Common Apps for college, or whatever online applications, or they can put it in their resume. And that's how we went from college to career, and obviously to life. That's why we originally called it Livestream, because we meant for this to go with people for life. So, moms might start capturing in grammar school, and yes, they're capturing on behalf of their students, right? Or their children, your parents or guardians. And then as they get older, the students themselves and kids themselves start continuing that capturing, right? Because hopefully they're getting into that habit. And then as they get, and then for that, they can even, resumes for high school, but then again, the college application, to put that into the Common. I mean, there's a place in the Common App for the application, for the URL. And then for career and internships, while you're in college, kids who were using Livestream in high school also use it during college, and then they can add the link to their resume, just like they put in their LinkedIn profile. LinkedIn profile is very different from a Livestream profile, because your LinkedIn profile is like your resume, goes a little bit deeper, gives them a little bit more information, but then the Livestream portfolio goes even deeper and shows the how, because that's what a lot of college applicants, exactly what you're saying, Zach. They want to know, well, if you're a leader, show me how. If you're resilient, show me how. If you're capable of doing this, show me how. And so Livestream is the show me how. And that's what employers and that's where employers and admission professionals are all very, very similar, because they're all looking for that holistic view of who an applicant is and what they can do, both within their grades, test scores, and resume, and outside of their grades, test scores, and resume. And that way they can say, yes, this student or this professional is the right person for our community, because they're all developing a community of their own, whether they're you're looking at a college, or whether you're looking at a professional for-profit or nonprofit company. They're all building their own community. So yeah,
we ask everybody.
My kids as a mom.
I
didn't build it as a professional. I just happened to have the professional contacts to be able, and because I was in technology, when we realized that this wasn't out there, and the moms realized, moms wanted it, the admission professionals wanted it. That's how Livestream was born, because it was just as a passion as a mom. I was working a great job. I had that proverbial big job at the time, and I just said, I really believe in this, and I really want to help everyone tell their story, because everybody's different.
I do. I think it's beautiful because as a parent, you want to make sure that your child's glow shines through.
Hmm.
Like you said, every person has something to offer. And on a piece of paper, it's hard to show that, you can put words, but I mean, I can put any word down. But
Hmm.
if I'm able to talk about it, if I'm able to express what I've done, first off, you have that little thing in the back of your head going, hey, you know what? I kind of forgot about this when I was doing that. So, there's always that working mind.
Hmm.
And that's one of the reasons why on the family networking second Thursday of every month at 6 p.m. East, join us. It's free. It's fun. But we ask people to come in and give their verbal resumes. I love a verbal resume just because of that fact. You do have that working mind going that, you can sit there and you can talk about it. And then all of a sudden, somebody can go, okay, so you were a dishwasher, but that also means that you had to be with FDA compliant, right? So you know about compliance. You know a little bit about this. And even you, as a person who may not understand what that means, to an employer, that can mean, okay, well, this kid knows that, you know what? Hey, if you don't do things right, you get shut down. So he understands that. Janitorial service rolls into that. There's just so much that you can take and you're able to portray about yourself, because this is more than just a piece of paper. This is something so much more. And that's really, and like I said, I love the fact that this was something to make your children shine, you know um
I have a little
and
fun fact for you, actually, because my oldest son was applying to colleges in 2019, and he and his friends, the cohort from his eighth grade, that the moms stayed with me, and they used it throughout their high school career to see how it worked. And then they were the first group, and my son was one of the first to put Livestream in his college application. And it was just really cool to be able to to say that. you know.
well, my oldest graduated from college in 20 in 20, yeah. So that's pretty cool that our kids are right around the same age.
Yeah.
um what are some of the other things that let's say adults who, and this is something that's really important, moms that are, you know the kids have been raised, now they want to get back to work. How can this help moms?
Oh, I actually love that question, because that moms are don't they are a perfect example of people who don't realize their value. I have so many moms that call me and they say, I've been a stay-at-home mom, but I want to go back to work. I don't, I don't know what value I'm bringing. I'm like, okay, let's talk about this, because that they've been part of that PTA. That they have been overseeing and been part of the whatever, athletics of the kids, whatever the kids are involved in. As a mom, you're involved in, right? And you get really involved. You're either raising money, and all of the skills that a mom brings are so valuable to a company. And, I've had moms who raised thousands and thousands of dollars for this school. Like, they did fundraising efforts every year with other, in a group with other moms, and they don't think about the fact of how valuable that is for a company. And I'm like, no, 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 you don't understand. People, not everybody can do that. And so we help them understand. We bring together, the event. First of all, they organized an event. So that in and of itself, for example, is great. And so they can capture the event. They can capture the amount of fundraising, that they raised. They could even talk about the impact that it had. I have moms that also, my son, youngest son is actually type 1 diabetic. And so a lot of us have done different fundraisers for type 1 diabetes. And those moms, I try to tell them, that's huge. You organize and you raise $4,000 for T1. That's awesome. And so it's kind of, and we try to capture that. We add it to their resume because their job and their business, they've been basically running a business of being a mom. And so Livestream can really help them showcase what they've done. Because most moms have, whether it be from social media posts or they definitely have the spreadsheets and the Word documents and other things that they use to plan the event, that gets live streamed. To put together the finances of the event, that gets live streamed. To have the pictures from the event, that gets live streamed. The list of vendors they used, that all gets live streamed. And they can put that all in one place. And it's a place that when the admission professional or the hiring manager in this case gets the portfolio, it's easy for them to view. Because the one thing you don't want to do is overwhelm an employer that you're trying to do work with, right? So we're not trying to overwhelm our employers with information, potential employers, I should say, with information. But so we organize it in a way that's effective for whoever's going to view it on the other end, so that they can find what they're looking for about that person really quickly and really easily. So we make it easy for the user to capture this stuff, and we're happy to give them guidance if necessary. Some people understand, what they need to, and that's great too, so that you can use it either on your own or we, folks to help. But for stay-at-home moms, you have to look at that as that's been your job. And so you have been employed for the last X number of years, however many. You've just been paid in a different way. And so that's kind of the way they have to look at it. You as a mom have so much responsibility on you. And so you should never diminish that. And your value comes from, you're the outcome of all those things that you did, and makes you who you are.
Yeah, and you know what, moms, if you really want to know, one of the reasons why you bring immense value to a community employer, ask your husband what's going on in your community. Okay, he doesn't know a damn thing. He knows that what's going on at work, and he knows what time the game's on. Those are about the two things that he knows. But you can tell us exactly what's going on in your community, in your school, in your neighborhood. You can tell us all these things. Mm-hmm. And so knowing your community makes you so valuable to employers, because they need people who know what's out there, who know the problems that people are going through right now. That is such a skill. And to be able to handle that without breaking down, that's another skill, because there is so much stuff that you deal with, that you see, that it's so important to have somebody who can take and put that all together and hold things together when everything is falling apart. So I cannot stand when I that's a wrong way to say it, but when I hear a mom who's but I don't know anything, everything. And that's what makes you so damn powerful, is everything. So, but
they probably taught their kids how to ride a bike and all these things. I mean, it's just every one of those things is so valuable, as far as especially from an employer's perspective. Just and being able to care for others in general is a really important thing. And so I definitely, I look at moms and I'm like, seriously, you have to realize how valuable you are. You're like a golden nugget.
Yeah. You had to deal with the attitude of your toddler. Hey, guess what? You're going to be going to work with the attitude of a bunch of, they still think they're toddlers. So, but Let me ask you this real quick. Is there anything else that you would like to talk about when it comes to the power of live stream?
Well, I think just going to back to with the mom question, I think is also with so many other things like transitioning military people. We started working with transitioning military people and
Very
veterans
good point.
who also don't always understand the value that they bring to civilian life. There's such tremendous value there, and so
Yes.
what I want people to understand is that live stream isn't just if you're going to college or necessarily even if you just want a career. That it's really a tool that can really just help you if you capture the things that you've done. Like when we work with transitioning military folks, we've found that they have certificates from courses that they've taken over the time. They've obviously been, in a lot of situations where there's resilience and all sorts of amazing, skills and character traits that are involved. Some of which can be fully captured, others of which can only be partially captured because they can only tell a portion of that story because it's secret clearance and other things. But that's okay. The fact that they had a type of experience that they can kind of document. So again, you don't have to have pictures or videos. It can be for anything. You can just write the memory in as well within Livestream and tag it. And just understand that that reflective component, the way we visually designed Livestream, really helps you understand. And as moms put it in, as veterans put it in, as students put things in, the aha moments that I see when I'm working with those people. And again, you can do this on your own, but I've had the benefit and the privilege, if you will, to work with these folks one-on-one occasionally. And what's great is I love the aha moment that they have once they've saved a couple of things in there, like, oh, I guess I have done a lot. Oh,
Yeah.
and they start really feeling that sense of just empowerment, I guess, for themselves. And that's so important, regardless of whether you're applying anywhere right now. That sense of value is what passions me every day. When I see that aha moment, it just gives me that extra oomph to keep it going and keep on, and realizing that this can be meaningful to everyone. And so we are here to help. We're here to help people tell their story. Again, you can use the platform doesn't need us to go along with it. You can sign up for the platform. We've made it really, really affordable. We started at $19.95 a year. And so, we really, because we know it's not a daily thing, but at the same time, it's an impactful tool. So, we hope people, and we charge for, we have to charge for it. This is important too, because we don't share the data.
Yeah.
So our privacy guidelines are very clear and our terms of use are very clear. We do not share, but because of that, we have to charge. But I think people want to keep their information private, and that is important to us too.
Yeah. I cannot express my gratitude to you for what you're doing. I do see I do see this as being something that is going to, change the direction in a lot of people's lives. Look, the fact is that it's very hard to find a job now. It's not like the 60s where you go on as a teenager and you retire from that job. Life takes us in different directions. Technology takes us in different directions. Unfortunately, there are life shifts, and this gives us a way to make sure that we can maximize every potential thing that we offer to people, where we're not forgetting something that we can offer to someone. And I think that's one of the reasons why live stream is very, very valuable to people. So
I appreciate that, Zach. Thank you. And we're thrilled to be part of the community paying it forward as well. And so, that
we
really appreciate it. We love what you're
Where
doing as well.
I love the fact that now people, they can get their own life straightened and they can help others straighten their lives as well. So, one last question for you, and it's very simple. What can we do for you today, and what can you do to help others?
So, what you can do for me today is get our website out there, livestreamdigital.com, www.livestreamdigital.com. And we hope that everyone will go there. As far as us helping you, we are here to help. That is our goal. So we have customer service available all the time. And we just want to be able to help people, you know, talk about themselves and really share their stories that they have, and make their hopefully make their world a little bit better, a little bit brighter, and give them the self-confidence to just power it forward, because we know that we know that it can be challenging, and especially in today's environment. So we really just want to make sure that everyone can tell their story effectively and feel really good about what they've done.
Yep. All of her information is going to be included in the description of the video, so you can reach out to Anne and have a conversation with her. I suggest you have a conversation with her regardless on what you're doing, because and that conversation is going to be great. I know she and I had a wonderful time together because we were able to take and talk about many different things. So and I greatly appreciate you. I love the fact that Livestream Digital is now available in the Community Pay It Forward program, and this is going to be a way to change lives. So please make sure that you reach out to her. Be looking in the next couple days for the brand new badge that's out there. All you have to do is follow that badge, and your purchases will become someone else's lifeline. So welcome to the program. Welcome to the family, and thank you so very much. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Zach. I really appreciate you having me on today.
Not a problem. If you would like an introduction to Anne, that's very simple. Contact me, Zach, Z-A-K, at communitypayitforward.us, and say, I would like to meet Anne. And I would say, you need to meet Anne. Here's the introduction. I'll make it happen by email. So again, thank you all for joining us today. Please remember to love someone out there, because someone out here loves you. Never forget that if you're not helping someone, you're hurting everyone. No one needs to go it alone when we all come together. We'll see you next time.
Bye.
So one of the things that I said on that video that I really want to take, and by the way, good morning, everyone, and thank you for joining us today for Footprints Forward. One of the things that I said in there that I really think that it needs to be re-emphasized, and we need to make certain that people hear, is that there are times we underestimate what our experiences are. Okay. And that's one of the reasons why hiring Anne to help you, I always say that you can't learn anything from yourself. I don't really think you can, but you can forget a lot about what you've done. And this is a way that you can take and you can revisit your life, and you can learn how important those experiences are. Okay. Where your certification for, say, like a forklift doesn't move from one area or from one business to another. Being forklift certified, for myself, I was forklift, crane, lane crawler, I had certification for all those things. And it's something that showed I knew how to deal with hydraulics, OSHA regulations, and all these things that you just don't know until you know. And all that learning that you did, all that training that you did means something to employers. Make sure that you don't shortchange yourself. With what Anne is doing with her company, she is able to remind you. You know, you can be sitting there, you can have you can have this conversation going, and next thing you know, you're like going, oh yeah, I did do this, I do remember that. And you get a job because of something that you would have never thought about putting down there. It is amazing. I've always been an advocate of transferable skills, and I truly think that what Anne is doing is very comparable to transferable skills, because if you do forget about what you know, it could hurt you. So up in the corner, you're going to see Anne's her profile page. Scan that QR code. It'll take you directly to her page. Her page is going to be live by the time this airs. So please make sure that you reach out to me today. If you have any questions, if you have anything that you would like to share, use my For My Card. For My Card is one of our partners. And that means anytime you make a purchase, you up your business game by getting a wonderful, designable electronic business card. You get to donate to people in the community. Something that you care about. And that doesn't just mean in your community, it means communities everywhere. The Community Pay It Forward is now the place where you can shop anywhere and support everywhere. So just remember that. We are changing the support game. We need you to join us in that support game, please. For as little as $20, you can become a vital part of the Community Pay It Forward program. Join our family and support others in need.
Every day, someone in our community is facing a challenge they shouldn't have to face alone. Your business can change that. When you join the Community Pay It Forward family, your kindness becomes action, and your sales becomes hope. For as little as $20 a month, you help guide families, nonprofits, and neighbors from crisis to stability. One small step, one powerful mission, one community coming together. Join the family today. Visit the website or scan the code and become a business where people can shop with purpose and support with heart.
Today we get to welcome a leader who doesn't just build systems, he builds momentum, clarity, and confidence. Please help me celebrate Jordan Templeton Harris, founder and president of Fitzgerald Built, as the newest member of our Community Pay It Forward giving family. He doesn't operate as a vendor, he operates as a force multiplier, a strategic partner who helps leaders. Whether an organization is growing, transforming, or trying to get unstuck, Jordan brings the operational intelligence and accountability that turn ideas into measurable outcomes. And now, he's chosen to stand with us, to make sure no one has to face a difficult moment alone. That's what makes this partnership special. That's what makes Jordan family. Please visit his profile, share his badge, and help us welcome him the way only this community can. Welcome to the family, Jordan. We're honored to walk this mission with you.